many of you have other people's stuff attached? Anybody?
Okay.
Okay, I tell you what, let's let it go. Close your eyes. And I just want you to feel where that is, feel in your body where that is. And just sort of take a deep breath, breathe into that tension, whatever that is, and just begin to unwind that. Just begin to just let it go. Just begin to let it move out. Out through your hands, out through the top of your head, out through the bottom of your feet. And feel the earth beneath your feet. Feel the energy from the earth coming up, grounding you. Feel that energy coming up into your solar plexus, spreading throughout your body, all the tissue cells and organs of your body. Allowing whatever that is just to dissolve. And then take a deep breath and slowly open your eyes. And I went on beyond
And you
what
go
I
back
needed
and
to do.
test for access.
I mean, my wife and I would say, we have stuff today. Okay, close my eyes. Okay, I'll let it go. And then we test. Once you've done this a few times, you just if you already know what it is, it's shorthand. You just close your eyes and let it go. Basically, what I do is I just breathe it in, and when I breathe out, the stuff just goes.
So it's kind of like the end of the resolution process, where you're grounding and letting the
Right.
light come back up, and then
Well, if it's other people's
goes out.
stuff, and you can let it go, then the resolution process is just a breathing procedure that I just showed you, where you just basically taking a deep breath and then letting it out and then let it go. In which case you got a short session. You with me? But you have to retest. You have to test to see whether it's really gone. And if it's gone and you test strong after that for the statement that you made in the beginning, then chances are that's all it was. Generally speaking, it may be a little more than that. In fact, you want to go through the motions, because most people, a lot of people, and the reason I created a process is because, the process, most people need a process. My wife and I can do this in 30 seconds each.
No.
Well, usually 2 minutes.
Sometimes I need to be very exact. I mean,
Okay.
more exact than you. I need get me down, and you have to count me down from 5.
Yeah, she's got this procedure that I need to use with her. Count her down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I have to say 0.
Yeah,
and then
if he
open
doesn't
the
do
door.
0, it won't work. Say 0.
Can you just not go to 0? Yes, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You can't stop at 1.
Right. So that's if it's other people's stuff and you can let it go. Now, say you don't have access and there's no access available, nothing's available. Okay, either it's not the right time, not the right place, in which case you say, thank you for sharing, let's work on this another time. Or you could try this, and that is, test. This is my stuff. No. Ancestor stuff. Yes. Mother's side. Yes. Father's side. No. Or vice versa. Whatever. You can get specific. We've gotten as specific as going back to the number of generations it was that it manifested. This becomes an epigenetic phenomenon. Epigenetics is that field of study where behavior and beliefs and limitations are passed down from generation to generation to generation. This is a new study in genetics. It's brand new. Lamarck's work back in the early to mid 1700s, where he said that behavior is inherited. And after Darwin, nobody believed that anymore until just 10, 15 years ago, and then suddenly Lamarck's making a comeback. This field of epigenetics is discovering that yes, ancestors do affect how you think, how you feel, how you live. Your genetic, all sorts of things are genetically linked. Obviously, your genes are genetically connected, but what about your behavior? So they're finding out behavior. He never knew his grandfather. I never knew my grandfather, but my grandmother swore up and down that I do a lot of the same things my grandfather did. I never met him. He said, you sound just like your grandfather. And I never met him. That's epigenetic. That was passed down. It skipped a generation. I got it. Something I got from him. I don't know what it was. She never explained what it was, but that's what it is. Okay? So what you do is you have a conference. I call it a family conference. What you do is you have a person close their eyes and say, okay, we're going to have a family conference now. If you find out that, yes, so-and-so has access, this is my ancestor stuff on my father's side, whatever, close your eyes, and I want you to have a meeting room. maybe a little larger than this room, have a meeting room where you're at the front of the room and all your ancestors are just sort of pouring in. And close your eyes and just walk through this with me so you'll see how it goes. And so you're at the front of the room, you ask all your ancestors, whether it's on your mother or father's side, or you can bring both in, have them come into this room, this meeting hall, and have a seat. You're inviting them to come in, and you need their presence. Tell them you need their presence. Thank them, and then you want to thank them. Get up at the front of the room. Thank them for being here. Thank you for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. I really appreciate it that you're my ancestors, that you allowed me to be born, that you passed on this inheritance to me, and that I can pass it on to my children, if that's the case. Thank you. I appreciate your being here. And I've got a little bit of a problem. I've got this thing going on where I don't really have access to this problem, and I would like for your permission and your blessings to be able to let it go. Those are the two words you use. I would ask for your permission and your blessing to be able to release this, whatever it is. And then you take a deep breath and you look around the room and you see if there's anyone in the audience, see if anyone in your ancestral pool, and you don't know them, you just know that there are beings there and there's presences there. You can sort of feel their presence, and you just notice whether anyone disagrees. I've had some people say, well, no, there's no change. I've had some people like Renee say, well, yeah, they're violently disagreeing with me.
We were violent, but they didn't agree.
That's right. They didn't agree, okay? And so they have their own opinions about things. Well, I'd like to make a lot of money. Well, they never made a lot of money, so therefore they disagree. Money is the root of all evil. You can't make any money. How dare you? Usually it comes up around money. Ancestors just don't know what money is because they're all broke. They all barely survived, right? If that's the case. In many cases, that's the case. Because life was tough. Let's face it. Our ancestors had it tough. Okay? So when you're asking permission and blessing from your ancestors, you're saying, okay, I realize, you're acknowledging, I realize you had it tough. You had a tough time. And I just want to acknowledge that. And I want to thank you for going through what you went through. And I want to thank you for allowing me to be born in such a way that I can move on and I can hand on to my heirs your lessons as well, and that we can become closer and closer to God or happiness or wherever it is that you want to go. In other words, give them a very good reason to release you from this, whatever it is. I ask for your permission and your blessings. Usually they'll grant that. Usually you give them thanks. Thank you so much for allowing me this. I'm not trying to change you, and you want to also tell them this. I'm not trying to change you. I'm not asking that you change or have different beliefs or have different things. I'm just asking for your blessing and your permissions to live my life and to pass on this feeling to myself, to live my life my way and to pass it on to my heirs. I ask for your permission and blessings for that. In the name of all that's holy and divine and whatever you want to put in there that means something to you. Okay. Is everybody with me so far? It's a real simple thing, but it's real crucial. It's almost like your ancestors are always with you, and they're always running the show, particularly if you don't have access and it turns out to be an ancestral thing. Guess what? They're running your life. Or your commitment to them as part of the tribe is running your life. Because you've made a deep, deep commitment that I cannot be separate from my ancestors. I have to be a part of the tribe, because guess what's worse than death over the vast majority of human history? Banishment. If you're banished from the tribe or you're no longer accepted by your family or your tribe, guess what that meant? It meant death. It meant worse than death, not even death. You'd rather die if it's for your family. But banishment meant that you're no longer connected to your ancestors and you're going to die. That's worse than death. So what you're asking your ancestors is, look, I still want to be a part of the tribe. I am still connected to you no matter what, and I never choose to let that go. However, I'm asking for your permission and your blessings to let it go. Guess what you're getting when you ask for that? You're getting their permission and their blessings. In other words, you're not separating from them going your own way, are you? You're actually allowing them to release you so that you can go your own way with their blessings and their permission, which what that does is give you a foundation of strength that you would not normally have. Very, very powerful process. Very simple, but very powerful. Now, what happens if as in the case of Renee, the ancestors say screw you and, and the ship you came in on. And where do you go from there? This has only happened, by the way, with Renee. Can I tell a story? Okay. Renee's parents or ancestors said, screw you and the ship you came in on, and we're never going to let you have whatever it is we're going to let you have. You want to share how that got resolved? And again, this is just Renee's circumstances. Chances are it's not going to happen to anybody else. I haven't seen it in anybody else, by the way. But it may come up. It may come up.
Ultimately, it had to do with something with money and freedom. I don't even remember the tie anymore. But the bottom line is that you pretty much characterized it pretty good. They had money issues.
Right.
And I was involved in trading, and no matter how I put it, no matter how I explained it to them, I was an evil dude for trading.
Right.
And we were in there, and you said, is there even just one person though? And I'm like, no, they all turned their backs, nobody's supporting me at all. And then you said, well, I guess you got no choice but to leave your tribe. Are you comfortable with that? And because of the own personal work I had already been through, I had no issue at all leaving my tribe. And we did, and it's all great. And I do want to share that there's two aspects of this I want to share. The first is the most important, which is that the next day when I went to work, it was like all these walls had been removed. It was a beautiful experience of what I didn't know that was acting as a block between me and other people. And that was all the crap my ancestors carried about tribalism and who's safe, who's not safe, who you can trust. Well, that person's different than you. All that kind of stuff. It just was gone. Just completely gone. And because of the journey I'm on, I loved it. I enjoyed it. The second point I want to make is that it is beautiful always if you can bring the ancestors with you. I had the client acknowledge, I understand this worked for you. This is how you lived your life. I know it worked for you. And I'm trying to evolve. I'm trying to take the next step. And I need your support to help me take the next step.
The ancestors are incredibly important, and it makes a huge difference. It makes all the difference. Like, I try to make money, and I was actually successful in doing that. And I'm from a family who didn't make money. But I managed. I did logical soul work long enough, and I made money, right? However, I could not keep the level I achieved. Then I got my ancestors on my side, on my back, and it makes all the difference. It is so different that you have their support in everything.
Yeah.
Relationships, money, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, it does. It does. There's lots of bits and pieces that we talked about these last couple hours about access that you're going to hear elsewhere. In other words, there's all sorts of groups that get together and they do Native American dances and they talk about ancestors. And of course, Orientals talk about ancestors all the time. This is not new. Access and decisions in the same sentence and using ancestors for permission to have access to change decisions. Understand, access is all about permission to change the decisions. That's it. Nothing else. We're not trying to change the ancestors. We're not trying to create any sort of ritual. We're not trying to create a feel-good situation, get feathers, do any of this stuff. All we want to do is change a decision. Once you discover access, the final part's like sliding down the slide into the water, okay?